Hi, welcome to Dave's Shop. I'm Dave. On today's episode, we're going to be making a zero clearance insert for my new table saw. That's new to me. It's a used one that I cleaned up, refurbed, and now I need to put a zero clearance insert on it in order to have a nice clean cut. So why don't you follow along with me while I design it, and then we cut it out on the CNC table, and then we test fit it on the saw.
This is the original throat plate that I want to replace. As you can see, it's got a pretty wide gap. This is the measurement widthwise, and it's about 3 11/16 of an inch. Lengthwise, it's about 14 15/16 of an inch. Alright, so here we are in VCarve. This is my software that I use for designing and carving in CNC. And we're going to create a new file. Alright, so the job size is 12 inches by 12 inches, and the thickness is actually 0.241. I always like to do a measurement of the actual thickness with calipers just to see what it really is, because if you put in a 1/4 inch, which is what it's sold as, and it's too thick or too thin, you'll either cut right through too early or you'll not cut completely through. So I'd like to get a good measurement of the actual piece of stock I'm using. And 12 by 12 is because even though the throat plate is almost 15 inches long, I cannot cut anything that long. So what I have to do is I actually have to angle it 45 degrees. The board itself will not be 12 by 12. That's just used for designing purposes. The actual board will be closer to 15 inches by 4.5 inches wide, or 4 inches, whatever I choose to cut it at. And I'll just lay it down on a 45-degree angle when I mount it to the CNC board. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to create a rectangle. The reason being is we're going to create this out of a couple of different shapes, and the easiest way I found to do it is to create a rectangle, 2 circles, and then we'll end up joining them together, and that'll give us our shape of our throat plate, and then we can go from there. So the width, as you saw in the pictures that we took, it's about 3 11/16 wide. So that breaks down to 3.6875. So it probably rounds up, but we'll just put 6875. And the height is 14 15/16, so 14.9375. And we'll create that down in the corner. We'll close that. Now we want to create 2 circles. So we'll create one, and we're going to put it down. Let's see. Put it down on the corner first. And we want it to be, again, the width. So that's 3.6875. We'll create, and there it is. We'll close. Now we'll grab our circle, and we're just going to move it up here for now, and we're going to duplicate it. So we'll go Control C, Control V to paste, copy and paste, and we'll put the other one right there. All right, now we've got to get these circles at each end of our rectangle. So what we're going to use for that is we're going to use the align feature. So we want to click our circle first, hold the shift key, click our box, go to the align button, and we want to align it to the bottom of the rectangle, and we want to align it to the inside edge. You can pick left or right, doesn't matter. I'll just go left. And there we are. It's touching all three corners here. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other circle. So you just click it to highlight it, shift, click the box. Now we want to go to the inside edge at the top and to the left. And there you have it. So now we want to close that. Now we need to get rid of the inside part of the circles and the outside edges of the rectangle. And the easiest way to do that is to use our trim function. So we're going to use the scissors. We're going to cut here, here, and here. As you see, it's starting to look more like what we need. Cut here, here, and here. And we'll close that. There you go. So now we've got the outline shape of our throat plate. Now we want to join these right now. If you click on them, they're all 4 independent vectors, and we want to make it one. So in order to do that, we're going to select it. We'll select 2, and then we're going to go here to join closed vectors with a straight line. Now that became one. If I click off of it and click back, you'll see it's one line. Then we're going to click up here. So we've got these 2 highlighted. Do it again. And then last but least, not the least, we'll click on, and there. Now we have one vector. The next thing we want to do is we want to create our offset, because we're going to need to shave a bit off of the board in order to allow it to sit down inside the lip. So I've already measured that, and it's about, I think, half an inch or so. So we highlight the outside. I'm going to go to the offset. Sorry, right here. It's 0.6875. And we've clicked inwards, so we're going to force the offset to go inside. And there you have it. That way you don't have to redraw the inside. Gives you the exact dimension here that you wanted, and it's basically just a smaller version of the outside one. Okay, the last thing we want to do is we want to create a thumb hole. So we're going to draw a circle, and we want the radius, the diameter to be 1.25 inches, and we want it to be, you can either just create it here and move it to where you want, or if you know the location, we want it about 2 inches up, and we want it half the diameter. So 2 inches would be 2 on the Y, and half the diameter would be 1.8375. Oh, an 8, not a 9. And go create. And there you go. Close this up. So now we have everything that we need. We've got the outside dimension set for the throat plate. We've got the inner set so we can take away the material between the outside and this inner that we've made. And then we have a circle for our finger hole to lift it up out of the saw. What we want to do next is we want to group these so we can rotate them. And then we're going to rotate, and we're going to go minus 45 degrees. And there it is. Close. And now we'll just grab it and see how it centers on the square. And there. That's exactly how we want it to do. Okay, so now that we've got that, we want to do our toolpath. So, excuse me. First thing we want to do is we want to do a profile, and we'll select our vector, which we need to ungroup them. Pin this so we can see it. Okay, so we're going to go down the depth of the material, so it's 2.41. We're going to use a 1/8 end mill. We're going to do our pass on the inside. That'll give us a 1.25 inch diameter. I'm not going to add tabs because I'm using the blue tape and glue method, so I'm going to have 3 strips of tape underneath this, and that'll hold this cutout in place. Now we want to name it, so 1 for operation 1, and this is the finger hole, and we're using a 0.125 end mill. We'll calculate it, and we'll run it to preview it, and there you go. So now we'll go back to the 2D view. The next thing we want to do is we want to do a pocket. We're going to select the outer and the inner, and this is the cut depth we want, because when I use the caliper, it showed from the top of the saw to the bottom to the top of the lip is 0.13. So subtracted that from the thickness of the wood. That leaves us with how much material we want to leave. We're going to use a 1/8 end mill. We'll just leave the passes as is, and we'll name this as operation 2, and this will be pocket cut with a 0.125 EM end mill, and we'll calculate. There you go. So now that shows you the path it's going to take. So we'll preview this, and there's the cut. So we'll close that, go back to our final toolpath. On the 2D view, we're going to select the outside, and we're going to do a profile. So now we're going to cut right through, so 0.241. We want it on the outside. Again, not going to put any tabs because of double blue tape. And we'll call this operation 3, profile. And spell it right. And we'll put a 0.125 EM for end mill. And we'll preview it. And we'll close. And if we turn it, we can see what it looks like a bit. We'll double click on the waste to get rid of it. Guess it doesn't work. Oh, I'm not in the preview view. Over here. There. So that's what it should look like when we're done. Next step, we'll save all the toolpaths, which you just highlight it, go save toolpath, and you do it for each one, and then we'll go to the machine and we'll set it up and cut it out. Here I'm just putting down the super glue onto each of the blue pieces of tape, and then we're going to spray the aerosol on it to help speed up the drying time, and we'll put the board right on top. Once it's secure, we'll then move the unit home, set up the tip, and start carving. Now that it's done cutting it out, we're just going to remove the excess, and then using the spatula or scraper, we're going to lift up the part carefully, not to cause it to break, and pop it off the tape, and there you go. Now we'll take it over and we'll put it on the saw and make sure it works. After a quick dress up with a piece of sandpaper, we're going to slip it down over the hole, and because the blade just slightly is above, we'll have to lower it down carefully using the stick just to get it started, and then we'll raise up the blade and cut through the top. We'll bring it all the way up and take it all the way down, and that'll give us our cut through. And it fits like a glove, just like we wanted. Here the picture shows the width of the blade, so it's just what we wanted. And here's a comparison between the two plates, the original and the new one. And the old one on top of the new one, and definitely looks like it's going to give us cleaner cuts.
Well, there you go. That was pretty easy. And now I have a template that I can make one anytime I want. It was very quick and easy to do, and I could have done it using traditional hand tools, but I have the CNC machine, and I thought this way I've got something that I can do repetitively and with ease. Join me next time for a new project. Don't forget to like, click the notification, and subscribe for future videos.